Hello, dear friend. You are watching your weekly horoscope for the last week of May. What a week in front of us. We have a lunar eclipse and also Mercury turning retrograde. That's a very rare combination. So the week can be pretty intense, transformational, and with lots of realizations. I have a full video on the lunar eclipse, which I will include in the description, or you can just go to my channel and find it there. So I won't talk too much about the lunar eclipse in this particular video. Just know that it will happen on Wednesday and it can make the atmosphere really intense with a huge opportunity for transformations, for letting certain things go so that we can expand in different life areas and achieve more things in a new direction. Great full moon and lunar eclipse on Wednesday. And after that, on Saturday, Mercury is turning retrograde in Gemini. So the whole time Mercury will stay in Gemini, which is for approximately 3 weeks. So we have 3 weeks coming with Mercury retrograde, and that sometimes sounds really scary, and I think that we tend to focus a lot on the potential problems and issues. And I'm not saying that there aren't any, but there are also lots of positive things that we can do when Mercury is retrograde. For example, reassessing your life, your goals. Also checking what is it that you want to fix. Is there something that you need to finish or complete, or make the decision to leave it behind you? Those type of internal dialogues, insights are actually happening and can be very helpful when Mercury is retrograde. And as usual, we should be careful with signing contracts, with all kinds of big purchases, with documents, in communication, with technological stuff. We just need to be more careful and keep in mind that we may forget something, we can make a mistake in certain area. So give yourself more time, check things twice if possible. In communication, make sure to clarify everything, especially if it's a verbal communication. But even if it's not, in any communication, people may really get a different impression of what you want to say, and that may lead to conflict. So making sure that everything is crystal clear will always help you when Mercury is retrograde. Now let's take a look at the daily picture. We will start on Monday with Venus having a semi-sextile with Mars. This is a positive aspect which can be great for relationships, for doing something that you love, for having more passion, and also for some kind of financial decisions. This is especially beneficial in combination with the moon in Scorpio for the financial side and the investments or some kind of purchases, especially if you want to catch up before Mercury turns retrograde. This could be a great time to buy something important and perhaps more expensive, or if it comes to investments as well. But overall, it's a positive day to do something that you love, something that you are passionate about. Keep in mind that the moon in Scorpio also brings its intensity, and overall there is tension in the emotional atmosphere, and people may overreact or take everything too personally. So the day is not boring, it's not too relaxing. It can be productive, intense, and really emotional. Then on Tuesday, we have a challenging aspect between the Sun and Mars. So we can be more impulsive, more impatient. In business activities, we may need to be more careful and not to take too much risks. On the other side, Venus has a great aspect with Pluto, which can support us in relationships, in financial decisions. Again, when it comes to love, passion, creativity, desires, we can really focus on that and explore it and do more of the things that we truly love. The Sun has another aspect with Neptune, which is a really creative one, and it can help us to be more intuitive, more compassionate, more creative, to focus on our imagination. So here the better approach is to follow your instincts and your emotions and your feelings to guide you, not to be too impulsive, and perhaps not to pursue just the final result, but instead how it will make you feel. The moon is still in Scorpio, so we still have this intensity and passion and possibility to overreact and possible tension as well. So be careful with that and use this time for some kind of spiritual practice or energy practice. This usually allows us to release the tension. Then on Wednesday, we have the important lunar eclipse and full moon in Sagittarius Gemini. It's really, really intense, so people may act strange. There might be some kind of tension, but also some important insights. And as I said, I have a full video on the lunar eclipse where I talk about the signs, the aspects, how it affects each of the zodiac signs. So I highly recommend you to check it out. Then on Thursday, we have a challenging aspect between Venus and Neptune. This aspect can bring some emotional frustration, some disappointment, increased sensitivity, taking everything too personally or feeling hurt by someone. So in relationships, we may have certain issues. With financial decisions, we need to be really careful. We can make a mistake, or we might be misled, or we might be disappointed from the result. So be careful with that. On the other side, when it comes to creativity, this combination can be extremely beneficial. If you have inspiration, you can do something with that and, achieve some concrete results. It will take some effort, so such aspects, they require energy, but there's also enough motivation usually. The moon is in Sagittarius, which is generally very optimistic, uplifting, allowing us to focus on the future, on our dreams, perhaps to learn something valuable, and overall to have the feeling that there is a meaning. It's pretty important when the moon is in Sagittarius to focus on something that you find meaningful. On Friday, the first thing we need to consider is that Mercury will be stationary because Mercury turns retrograde on the following day, on Saturday. So have something on your mind that you need to be more careful. There is a possibility that you may forget something, that things might be slower than usual, that there might be in communication some kind of misunderstandings. So Mercury stationary slows things down and can feel a little stuck. The moon is in Capricorn, which can add even more of this slow energy. We can be more patient, consistent. We can focus on some business or important work. But again, with stationary Mercury, it may not be the most productive time. And we definitely need to pay more attention when it comes to communication. The moon will have only positive major aspects with Jupiter and Uranus, and that's supportive. It can help you to be more inspired, creative. Perhaps we can succeed in something, but again, don't focus on some huge goals for this day, because you might get disappointed. With Mercury stationary, things might be moving really slow. And on Saturday, we actually have this Mercury turning retrograde. So lots of attention to every life area, especially in communication, but also in the other areas as well. We may forget, we can be misled, there could be delays or changes in plans, the usual Mercury tricks. So be prepared, don't put too much things on your plate, and it will be fine. Mercury also is in exact conjunction with Venus at the same time when it turns retrograde, and that's pretty impressive. It may trigger relationship stuff, some kind of discussions. Old issues from the past may show up, like old arguments with partners, potentially meeting people from your past, or someone calling you that you haven't heard from for a really long time. So lots of emotional intensity, focus on relationships and people and connections from your past. The moon will be in Capricorn on Saturday as well, so be patient, focus on practical things, but again, don't try to accomplish too many things at the same time. And keep in mind that the general mood might be a little bit more pessimistic and negative. And finally, on Sunday, we have a quincunx between Venus and Pluto, and that's a complicated aspect. At first, it might feel challenging. We may have certain power struggles in relationships or confrontations with partners, or even some kind of financial worries. But there is a possibility that it might be resolved towards the end of the day or later. Mercury is still really slow, so again, consider that. And keep in mind that there might be some kind of unnecessary drama with this Venus-Pluto aspect. On the other side, the moon is in Aquarius, which can bring a relief. It can bring certain lightness, and we may feel more spontaneous or excited about doing something different, or hopefully spend some time with other people. So it can change the atmosphere for the day, and it may feel really different than the previous few days when the moon was in Capricorn. So that was our weekly horoscope. If you are interested in learning more about astrology, or if you want a personal reading, please check the links below the video or go to marstars.net to find more information. I would love to hear your thoughts. How do you feel about those upcoming changes? And is there something that you are planning to do during the lunar eclipse and Mercury retrograde? Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you next time.